Who is Vanny? A question that doesn't have such a straightforward answer for the FNAF community. Hello and welcome back to HorrorScoped, where today we'll be heading into the Chuck E. Cheese from Hell, Five Nights at Freddy's security breach. As if the real-life restaurant chain wasn't creepy enough, Five Nights at Freddy's, as you all likely know due to its long history, actually cashes in on the idea of what if those dead-eyed animatronics were alive, that we all fear. With the latest entry to the series, Security Breach, recently launching, we're going to take a deeper look at some of the characters that call this nightmare world home. The first on our list? Vanny. However, Vanny's story, much like a few others in the game, does not start with Security Breach. To begin our trek down the lore lane, we'll be briefly heading back to a previous installment of the series. Spoilers lay ahead, of course, as we explore the nooks and crannies of these paranormal pizza establishments. You have been warned. Quote, "Yes, I hear you. I know. No. There's no miscommunication. I understand. Yes, I have it. I made it myself. I think you would like it. No. No one suspects anything. Don't worry, I'll be ready. And I won't let you down. It will be fun." End quote. The words in question come from Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted, specifically the Curse of Dreadbear DLC. Though obviously, only a small glimpse into the character as a tease for the future, this recording is heard by the player after completing a number of tasks around the hub in the cellar. The audio is ultimately revealed to the viewer after the tasks are completed, and we don the grinning white rabbit mask back at the prize counter while holding the Glitchtrap plush. Obviously, this is like listening into one side of a conversation, one which is clearly between Glitchtrap and Vanny. She seemed very eager to please, which meant nothing good for any future bystanders. Furthermore, this would seem to indicate that we'd actually been playing as Vanny herself, which is ultimately confirmed in the Princess Quest minigames. We would only stand to find out more as the timeline progressed to present day. Security Breach shows us our fears from Vanny's earlier quote realized, as we immediately find her to be almost as murderous and evil as Glitchtrap himself. Vanny took center stage in this story, although perhaps not the big bad evil guy we face off in the end, but she was a primary foe throughout the game. Clearly sharp and manipulative, Vanny plays the wolf in sheep's clothing role quite well. Gregory, the protagonist, unfortunately falls prey to her fake personality and mannerisms, her kind mask hiding the murderous smile beneath it all. And murderous it is indeed, as by the time Gregory encounters her, she has already killed 9 children according to the local newspaper. Despite those grisly atrocities, Vanny was at one point referred to as a reluctant follower. There may be some evidence of this in the earlier quote from Help Wanted, as the dialogue does seem a bit shaky and uncertain. Perhaps before being hardened by these murders, Vanny was not completely dedicated to her master's plans. Be that as it may, the events of Security Breach seem to paint a picture of her having fallen in line. The vile way she carries herself, between waving at Gregory to say hi before attempting to kill him, or more generally, how she always laughs before and during an attempt on his life. She can even be seen skipping through the halls of the Pizzaplex, happily. Her demeanor isn't completely bulletproof, however, as she does show some level of fear if her plans fall apart. But is this due to the fear of death, or of the consequences of failure from her master? Vanny is a follower of Glitchtrap, aka Springtrap, aka Burntrap, aka the spirit of William Afton, who refuses to move on to the afterlife because they're afraid of hell. Ironic that they're terrified of the afterlife because of their crimes, and yet they continue forth undeterred in their efforts. Afton, in this case the Glitchtrap persona, seems to be the consciousness or spirit of William Afton, uploaded into the digital realm. Huh. And here I thought Dr. Wily was the only video game villain with that level of persistence. Glitchtrap, much like the theories surrounding the good doctor of Mega Man fame, enacts part of his ambitions by corrupting animatronics much like a computer virus. However, things get skewed here, as it would seem his ability of coercion isn't simply limited to robotic constructs. Vanny is case in point here, as she is a living person merely wearing a bunny suit. Her manipulation into becoming a sadistic monster is somewhat clouded, but is likely the result of Glitchtrap attempting to bond with her in Help Wanted. Though the fusion attempt failed, there was a moment where their very beings were intertwined. Whether this is mere brainwashing as a result of this, or something deeper is uncertain, and is at this point unknowable. What is interesting though, is that through Security Breach, in a series of leaked emails from Special Delivery, we are introduced to another character who seems to overlap with Vanny, and very well may be Vanny herself. Vanessa, or Ness as she is addressed in the emails, is a security guard at the Pizzaplex, and at least appears to want to help Gregory. She seems to take pride in her work, as she does try to keep Gregory safe after finding him in the facility after hours. Vanessa even scolds him at one point, after dropping him off at the Lost and Found. But is all this an act? During a conversation via video monitor in the Lost and Found, the screen Vanessa is chatting through glitches to Vanny, asking Gregory if he is having fun yet. This precedes Vanny actually appearing outside the room, before entering to attempt to attack him. So is this merely a ploy, or is there something more complicated at play here? The story-related emails seem to point to the latter, and potentially a sort of Jekyll and Hyde situation. The emails are sent from Lewis, a coworker who seems interested in Vanessa. The messages vary widely, from thoughtful to alarming in regards to Vanessa's behavior. For instance, one day she is searching for flowers in the migration patterns of bees, and the next, it's how far can a human being be cut in half before losing consciousness? These emails seem to indicate that perhaps after the interaction with Glitchtrap, she had some sort of mental break, resulting in multiple personalities. This is, of course, speculation at this point, as nothing has been revealed to cement this into fact. However, there are other emails that heavily imply that this is the case. Vanessa, according to these emails, for all intents and purposes, tricked Lewis into granting her system security access in an IT capacity. From here, she is seen to have manipulated programming with Fazbear animatronics in response to a work order, submitted by contractors regarding a virus in the system. The emails illustrate a story of Vanessa, upon gaining senior IT privileges, locking the employees out of their accounts, and programming the animatronics to kill everyone in the warehouse. This is all seriously sadistic, even though these emails were leaked from the game files. It certainly wouldn't be a huge logical leap to say that Vanessa and Vanny are at least quite similar, if not the same. Two characters, possibly of one mind, split into two. A virus in the system. Vanny is certainly an interesting character to say the least, and one that we can hope to learn more of as time goes on. The game does us no favors in solidifying any of these story threads, as Vanessa is seen atop the burning Pizzaplex at the current end of things, leaving a lot of questions unanswered. So, do you think this is the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation, with two personalities unaware of what the other is doing, or is the Vanessa persona simply a mask that Vanny wears to try to hide their true intentions? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, cheers!